You want to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball, what Atkinson brings from that standpoint?
Let's hit that. Yeah,
I'm curious on this.
Yeah.
So he worked with Coach Budenholzer in Atlanta, and his defense is very, very similar to what the Bucks ran in Milwaukee. And before we get into the philosophies, the numbers, and the breakdown, part of what made that defense in Milwaukee so dominant, and I'm talking dominant, top 5 in the league almost every year he was there. They had a rim protector in Brook Lopez, and they had Giannis play the free safety essentially from the 4 position. Right. Which mirrors a Jared Allen, Evan Mobley pairing. And I would argue right now, today, as of 11:44 on June 25th, Evan Mobley's best skill set, his best single skill, is the ability to muck stuff up defensively as a help side defender.
Right.
In that Giannis role in this defense, I think he could be an absolute freaking menace. His philosophies.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot of pairings and a lot of similarities between what Atkinson does defensively and Coach Budenholzer do defensively. But his main principle is he wants to force mid-range jump shots and pull-up jumpers. He wants you to take the shots.
Not efficient.
Exactly. He
shots.
wants you to take the shots he wants you to take. He does not want you to take the shots that you want to take. They go under on a ton of screens. They play drop coverage as maximum level you can. We'll show you some clips. Wait till you see where Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan are hanging out in some of these. And they help off bad shooters. They do what the Celtics and the Magic did to Isaac Okoro.
Yeah.
For 82 games during the regular season, which is not commonplace throughout the league.
Going under on screens is risky, and guys got to play with a lot of intensity defensively.
It does, and it requires buy-in.
Yes.
But for the most part, and these are all clips from his days in Brooklyn, and he was the defensive coordinator in Golden State, and I can't wait to talk to the Locked On Warriors reporter in a sec to see if they mirrored those same strategies in Golden State like they did in Brooklyn. But most guys are better standstill, feet-set shooters than they are off the dribble, even though today's day and age of shooters are better than they were 4 years ago when he was coaching in Brooklyn. Yeah. So some numbers to keep in mind when we're talking about this. In the last season, he was the coach of the Nets, 19-20. They went under 13.5 screens per game. That was second most in the NBA behind Coach Bud in Milwaukee. When they went under, they allowed less than 1 point per possession. When you look at the all-time rankings, that ranks in the 70th percentile. And they ranked second in the NBA that season in preventing shots at the rim. So they want you to shoot threes. They want you to shoot, or not really threes, they want you to shoot pull-up threes and mid-range jumpers. They're okay giving up floaters and all that. Let's go to the video, Steve. We're talking about drop coverage. We talked about this all the time. Look how far Jared Allen sags down on some of these plays. I mean, they are absolutely begging Joe Ingles there to take a mid-range jumper or a floater. And when he's that deep, it's hard to make a bounce pass in the pocket. It's hard to get that deep. Here's DeAndre Jordan doing the same thing, forcing our guy George Niang there, by the way, to take a floater. This is against the Suns. DeAndre Jordan just sitting in the paint because he's back there. He's already in perfect help position for a Devin Booker weak side cut. You see the Nets defender there go under the screen, which we'll talk about in a sec. But if you can't shoot, they're not going to guard you. They're going to beg your center, if he's not a great mid-range shooter, to take those shots time after time. They are so comfortable giving that up. Now, more shooters today than in 2020 can shoot. However, that is a shot they are willing to give up on a regular basis. This drop coverage is as far as you're going to see across any level of basketball, and the Jazz center right there is not a shooter, which allows them to play so far off. They go under a ton of screens, Steve. We'll go to the next clip when you get a sec. They go under everything up top. This was a scrappy Nets team. This team fought hard as can be to get under and around screens. You can see the drop coverage there, same thing.
Oh, but he didn't go under a screen there.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Another, under the screen, drop coverage. Force the shooter to take a pull-up three. Not great hustle there, not great effort, but you're going to live and die with the percentages of these guys who aren't great shooters off the dribble taking these shots. Fakes goes under, forces DeJounte Murray to take a pull-up mid-range.
Gotcha.
They want you to take the shots that they want you to take. They're trying to force you into specific shots. Here's Karis LeVert, goes under twice on the same screen, pulls it back out. Now they're in man-to-man coverage. Force a tough shot. I think he's going to kick it out here, and then take a end of shot clock heave. They're going to go under everything.
He goes under. They go under because they want you to shoot. Exactly. They don't want you to be, because if you go over,
then it goes 2-on-1 on the opposite side. Exactly.
Then it gets to the basket.
And their main goal is to prevent shots at the rim.
Right.
That's the main goal of this whole defense. This is Jaylen Brown here in a bunch of different sequences. In the 2020 season, this is what these clips are from. He shot 36% from three. He was 29% from three off the dribble. So that's the percentages that Kenny Atkinson and this Nets defense is playing. And then the last clip, Steve, the very last one here that we're going to break down. They help off bad shooters. It doesn't matter, strong side, weak side. That's Markelle Fultz here. It's going to go back in, and they're going to post up Vucevic. Watch LeVert. It's like, Markelle Fultz, please shoot the ball. We're begging you to take that shot.
Right.
I don't care if it's not the right help position to be in. They are going to help off the worst shooter on the court, strong side, weak side, and force, once again, you don't want Romeo Langford in this instance, a 22% shooter on the season, to be the guy who's open on the rotation. So they're going to help off him. It's exactly what teams did to Isaac Okoro. They're just doing it for 82 games throughout the regular season. It doesn't matter where the player's position on the court. For a majority of their defensive possessions, at least the ones I watched yesterday, they were sending help from the worst shooter.
Right.
And
that forces either a bad shot against the double team
or a pass to the bad shooter. Exactly. And it's just
shooter.
Confusing. You expect help in certain situations. Right. It's like if you're playing cover 2 defense, you have an idea of where the defender's going to be.
Right.
When you mix it up constantly, depending on where your shooter is, the offense has to adjust. Here they're going against Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz.
And you don't expect to have a guy wide open in the NBA. It's weird. And sometimes guys get antsy about that, especially if they're not good shooters.
If they're not competent. We saw
and it's worked against the Cavs.
Exactly.
No doubt.
So those are some basic principles and pillars of what Kenny Atkinson did defensively in Brooklyn. I'm curious to see, and I haven't broken down the Golden State film, how much he did differently from Brooklyn to Golden State, but hopefully that gives people out there a better idea of what Kenny Atkinson wants to do offensively and defensively now as the head coach of the Cavs.
So overall, how are we feeling about Kenny Atkinson?
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think, but I want to.
Specifically on my.
Yeah. Shooters love when you go under on screens. So I'm surprised. I didn't realize, I guess, how much.
Jason,
like to go under.
I want you to read this from my notes. You could read this in my notes. And I just want Jason, so you guys know I'm not making this up.
I do have some concerns. This worked in 2017 to 20. Shooters are better today. That was my point than they were 4 years ago. More guys can pull up off the dribble with ease and accuracy. However, most still see a pretty good drop in percentage off the dribble versus standing still.
Well, you might need to do a deep dive into the Warriors tape to see if he changed his philosophy at all.
I only had a couple hours yesterday.
Well, that's unacceptable.
I know, but I will. But that is a legit concern as well.